I'm Matt Smith. Today on Upfront, the Speaker's election investigation. Wisconsin Elections Commission Chair Ann Jacobs on the effect all this has on election administrators. Plus, Governor Tony Evers.
I want fair maps, and that's what the people of Wisconsin deserve.
We'll talk about redistricting, the wolf hunt, and what's going on with the DNR and Natural Resources Board. Plus, the Mequon-Thiensville School Board recall, the recall organizers on why they pushed it.
Taking on the issues important to Wisconsin. This is Upfront with your host, Adrian Pedersen.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Adrian is off today. I'm Matt Smith. We begin with those changing developments in the Speaker's election investigation. Special Counsel Mike Gableman subpoenaed clerks and mayors in Wisconsin's 5 largest cities, telling them to produce documents and show up to testify at an office in Brookfield. But late last week, Gableman said he was striking agreements for voluntary compliance with most of the cities. We asked both Gableman and Assembly Speaker Robin Vos to appear on today's program. Neither was available. So we are talking now about the effects of this on state elections with Ann Jacobs, the chair of Wisconsin Elections Commission. There has been an incredible amount of back and forth in recent days with these subpoenas. Megan Wolf, administrator of the Wisconsin Elections Commission, received one of those subpoenas. What's happening behind the scenes right now and as we go into the weekend?
What I think you're seeing is a lot of the communities that receive subpoenas, persons like the Elections Commission and Administrator Wolf, absolutely perplexed. Because first there were these subpoenas that basically asked for every document relating to the 2020 election, which is millions of pages of documents if you think about the 5 largest cities in the state. Then they requested documents for the Center for Tech and Civil Life grants, which had already been given and put out in the public record. And then the next day, it's like, never mind, we'll look at the stuff you already gave us. And my biggest question is, well, why didn't you look at it before you threatened to lock people up to give them documents they'd already given out?
Given what we've seen, do you anticipate anyone will actually show up to his office on the next 2 Fridays with testimony and potential documents?
I have absolutely no idea. I have never seen a state agency command someone's attendance at a Regis office suite they share with a liposuction clinic. And one of the things that troubles me about that is we do our governing in public. We have strong open meeting laws. We have really strong and very limited situations where you can do closed session activities. Why is this being done in secret? Or according to Mr. Gableman, he plans to do it in secret. What is secret about this? Why would we not want our governance to be done in public? I'm concerned about that.
It seems like a lot of the focus still is on this private grant money that cities across the state received to help run the elections in 2020. Looking back, considering where we are now, was it a mistake for cities to accept that money and that grant money?
Was it a mistake? I think we were in the midst of a COVID pandemic, and there was an organization that was offering to give any state or any city in the state of Wisconsin, and I think there were 200 of them that took that money to help them with that election. And a lot of that money went to COVID-19 supplies. It went to personal protective equipment and masks and hand sanitizer and all of that. And as a result of that, we had a safe election. And we had a fair election, and we had an accurate election. So to the extent those communities needed private money to accomplish that, what it says to me is we need to be going to the legislature and asking for more money to come out of the state government to make us able to do that in the next election.
In this review and among lawmakers, there's been a tension within the Elections Commission as well, and the advice it provided to clerks. As you reflect back on 2020, do any changes need to be made in terms of the guidance you are providing clerks?
Some of the guidance that people are concerned about has been in place since 2016. That was where clerks can put in a zip code and the like on an address. Some of the guidance goes back, we can track it back to 2010 or earlier, like the absentee ballot envelopes that are both an application and an envelope. Some of the advice was based upon what we were confronted with the COVID-19 pandemic, and it's very easy to forget the chaos of April of 2020 when here's this virus. We don't even know how it's transmitted. We're all washing our Amazon packages, right? Because we don't know if we're going to touch an Amazon package and come down with COVID. So the actions the commission took, which were largely, I think, almost entirely unanimous on a lot of those issues, were there for the safety of the community and to have a safe and fair and effective election. And we accomplished that.
Does any of that need to change looking ahead?
I don't think so. I think if anything, what we need to do is be planning ahead more. What if we have other events like this? Maybe it's not going to be a pandemic. Maybe it's going to be a tornado. Maybe it's going to be some other catastrophe where we've got to be agile, maintain safety, maintain fairness and openness and accuracy in elections.
Ann Jacobs, chair of the Wisconsin Elections Commission. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up, Governor Tony Evers will talk about redistricting and whether there is any chance he and Republican lawmakers could agree on a set of maps for the upcoming elections. And later,
I guess my message to parents out there is get involved.
the two moms who launched a recall of school board members in Mequon-Thiensville.